What's up, everybody? Let me know when someone's on, if they can hear and see me, please. What's up, Randy? I do apologize for the white noise in the background while I'm not talking because, well, there's nothing for it to do, so there's white noise. We go ahead and make some people mad while we're waiting. Emails going out, browser notifications going out. Everyone's about to go out. That'll always upset some folks. And then we're gonna get started. Dev says, yo. What's up, Dev? Stavros says, hey. What's up, Stavros? Lots of people showing up now, which is a good thing, because some is better than none. And let me make sure. Cool background. Oh, thank you. I've changed up. Is it that way? Yeah, that portion recently, so I'm glad you noticed. Ivana says, hello, Chris. Hello, Ivana. eBay says, hi, Chris. Hello, eBay. Apologize if I got that wrong. Facebook user says, hey. Keith says, hey, Chris. Joseph says, hey, good day, Chris. Somebody says evening. We will get started in just a second once I get everything set up. So please bear with me for just uno momento. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Pardeep says, after so long time, yes, sir. Munari says, hey, everyone, the goat is in the house. I wonder how many people don't know what you mean by goat and think that you mean an actual goat and not greatest of all time. We may as well get into this. Keith says, nice shiner you have there. James says, what happened to your eye? The answer to both of you is that real marketplace founders get real black eyes. Now, I train in boxing and Muay Thai, and in sparring this week, somebody got a little happy and caught me with a good shot in the face. And this is the result. The funny thing is, I didn't even notice it until like the next day. Like, I knew I got hit and it hurt, but I didn't know I had a black eye because I didn't that night. But the next day I went to do a Zoom call and I signed on and I was like, holy crap, I've got a black eye. And so that's what happened there. So, and I'm going to be fighting in a tournament called a PKB, a Point Kickboxing Tournament, in September. So I'm really excited about that. It's I really want to challenge myself, and that's one way to do it. So that's why I got the little vest on here too, starting to get the weight where it needs to be. And bump. All right, we are done setting up. Zahir says, hey, hello, boss. Somebody says, hey, Chris. Somebody asks about the black eye. I heard you got hit by a Google update. Now, like I say, I'm just a real marketplace founder, so I don't Photoshop my black eyes on. I actually get them through doing the thing that I talk about. Novel concept, I know. And yes, that is shade that's being thrown right now. So, enjoy that. All right. So, today we're going to talk about defining the problem that you solve with your agency. But before we do that, of course, we're going to do our usual giveaway of some legit merch, because I like to give things away and it gets me more attention. So, and that's really what all of us are selling, is attention. So let's get that started. We'll get that started in just a second. We bring up the merch store, which we've been updating pretty regularly recently, thanks to Brittany from our team that helps with that. Let's see, what StreamYard.com/giveaway. All right, we got a good number of folks on, and it's a Friday, and everybody wants to go the hell home. So let's go ahead and get into our giveaway, and then we'll get into what we're going to get into. Joseph says hello. Hello, Joseph. So he says, I didn't know you were into the fighting thing. You are my brother. Yeah, I started just to to train and get in shape and have something to do and meet some people, like make some friends and stuff. But I went to a fight that a bunch of them had in February. And I was watching, and we all did really, really well. Our school's very, very good. And I was watching, I was like, I think I can do that. And I figure I'm going to be 45 on Monday. I figure if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. So, yeah. So, let's present my screen. We want this window. And, yeah. Let's see. Erdal says, hi, Chris. Hello, Erdal. Israel says merch. Aaron says hello. Hello, Aaron. John, what's up, John? You look a lot different in that picture. You look like Hugh Jackman. He says, when will the bidding start to sponsor you for the upcoming tournament? Please do a Rocky-style training montage. I actually am going to get some content made because, again, it's a good story, I think, and it's good for business, too. That's not why I'm doing it, but, Fazley says, hi, Chris. Hello, Fazley. Joseph says, we need legit to go worldwide. It kind of already is. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but that sounds positive, so I'll say thank you. So this is the Legit Merch Store. We are a digital agency just for MMA guys. Actually, Bart, I don't know if Bart's on right now, but he actually focuses heavily on karate and martial arts schools. I'm promoting this website every day. Thank you. All right, so before we get, let's just get into it. This is the Legit Merch Store, and we're going to give away some merchandise here in a moment. And you can see there's a variety of things for men, women. I think there's even some stuff for children in here. And yeah, an infant jersey. You got some golf balls. I wouldn't get the phone case because I don't know what models they have, and I think it might be outdated. There's a clock. There's a hat. It's actually looking really good. Lycian says nice shirts. He wants to buy some. You can do that at shop.legit.com. There's a mouse pad, a tumbler, a travel mug, a wine glass that I know at least one member of our team has, and some other shirts, and a vanity license plate. It's just some cool stuff. So we're going to give away one of those in a minute, and the way we're going to do that is before I show you, I want you to go to, if you're on Facebook in a group and you want to be able to participate, you're going to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And that way, what you're going to do is just go through the prompts and authorize StreamYard. And that way, you'll be able to participate in the contest. Jean says, good afternoon, Chris. What's up, Jean? Good to see you. All right, so this is it. And let's go ahead and have our keyword today be problem. So what we're going to do is let this go for probably 5 minutes. And everybody can type in the word problem. And then I'll pick a winner, and the winner will get to pick some legit merch to win, because that's how contests work. There's winners. Gaming with fun. There's your free plug. It says good luck. Good luck to you. Somebody type. There we go. Got one person. I guess nobody wants to win any legit merch today, or maybe they don't want to type problem. There we go. Bang on. And we'll keep that going for another 3 to 5 minutes and go from there. Also, while we're doing this, can you go ahead and as many of you that are willing to, would you please put in the problem that your agency specifically solves? Put that in there, and what we'll do is look at some of them and see how we can improve upon them, or how, if they're good, how we can share them with one another. But put those in the chat as well. John says, will you stop when you have 99 problems? Yeah, if you can go ahead and put in the problem your agency solves, I think that would be a big help for us later on down the road as well. In the meantime, I'm going to grab some Perrier because I'm becoming privileged as I get older. Got a few minutes left. And again, this is for the legit merch of your choice. It can be a t-shirt, a mouse pad, a cup of some kind. Got some golf balls on there, I think a clock, a backpack. I need to get the backpack for myself, actually. I wonder if they have a black one. Anyhow. We got the Friends version of the t-shirt, coffee mug, got a sticker, I guess it's a decal, notebook. The ladies do not accompany the merchandise, so please don't ask. Cool, John putting in his problem that he solves. Jean putting his in. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. I hope it's not Jean, and I'm trying to be clever, show how good I am and show that it's Jean and it is Jean, but I believe it's pronounced Jean. But again, we're typing in problem, and if you are not able to see your name and you want to participate, you need to go to StreamYard. The one thing that this software I don't like is they make you keep doing this. Is you need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and authorize StreamYard. Bring back the coffee container with the top. We have one. It is right there. I assume that's what you mean. I need to get one of those myself, actually. Of course, very soon we're going to have to redo all this merch, and I can't tell you why yet. And remember, we are typing in problem. Steve says he got himself a new customer. Well, let me make that even easier on you. Boom. Problem, what's happening here? What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a over... Alright, I'll stop singing. Alright, we got about 2 minutes left. We are typing in problem for the chance to win some legit merch. And then we are going to get into our presentation, and then we're going to try to help some people define the problem that their agency solves, so they can spend more money with me when their agency is a thriving success. Because that's my goal, is to help you so you can help me. And yeah, if you're wondering, I did steal that approach from Alex Hormozi, like, shamelessly. So, what's that expression? Good artists borrow, great artists steal, something like that. I'm somewhere in between. All right, it's getting a little quiet in the chat, and we've got less than a minute left. So again, last chance, type in problem for the chance to win some legit merch. The last one was from the Idioms. Fazley is dropping another problem that we can get into in a little bit when we get to it. And we got about less than a minute left. This is the part where I complain about Windows 11 not showing the seconds on the clock. So at least we got that out of the way for the week. And time. So let's go ahead and pick our winner. Randy. Congratulations, Randy. Winner of, I believe he's won in the past, so he's at least a 2-time winner. So congrats, Randy. You just need to go to shop.legit.com and pick out whatever it is you would like. And then come over to Legit. Use the on-site chat to tell them that you won and tell them what you would, hey, look at that, I'm online. Tell them what you would like and give them your mailing address. And if it's something that requires a size, like a t-shirt, let them know what size you need as well. So congrats, Randy. Let me share that with them so it doesn't get lost. And then we'll jump back into the presentation. Alright, so 1 second here, folks. So one more time, congrats to Randy the News Guy. There's your free plug, also known as Randy Rohde. I believe I'm going to be on his podcast in a couple of weeks too, if my memory of my calendar serves me correctly. So, alright, let's get into, let me get this set up. F5, minimize that. Share my screen. How to advertise to different locations. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Randy says the 8th. Excellent. My assistant has already left for the day, so I have no clue when I'm doing anything. Alright, so today we are going to talk about problem solving. More specifically, the problem that your agency or other business, if you have a different type of business, solves. That's ultimately the goal of any business, but we're focusing on agencies for now. But it's to take a problem that somebody has and then in exchange for money to solve it for them. Now, when I talk to a lot of agencies, they don't really have a good view of what problem it is that they solve. They think that if I ask them this, the best answer, the most common answer I get is something to the effect of, I help them generate more leads and sales through online or something like that. So what we're going to talk about is how to define that problem so you understand your own business and so you can better serve people. So that's what we're going to get. Noor says, I need clients. Well, watch this and learn, and then you can go get clients. Imtiaz says, I have a suggestion for you. I have a feeling I'm not going to want to know what it is, but what you can do is just go over to legit.com and click on the suggestion link in the footer and then tell us that. But I have a feeling it's going to do with something to get more sales for freelancers, and that's not what we're here to talk about right now. So, but yeah, you can just do that. So we are talking about solving a problem, and this, for you youngsters out there, is Vanilla Ice, who sung Ice Ice Baby, had the lyric, if there's a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Clearly it was not looking like, clearly the problem he solved was not how to not look like a fuckboy. But, you know, it is what it is. And there goes my monetization, so that's great. All right, moving right along. So this is what we're going to talk about, and I left out a bullet point here because I wasn't prepared. But it says, why does this even matter? Because you might be thinking, why can't I just start a business and start selling SEO or marketing or ads or content or copy or whatever? This is, why do I even need to do this? And we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about the elements of the problem. We're going to talk about if the problem is worth solving, and then why, some other questions that I can't remember the header for, but I know is there. So let's jump into it. And at any point, if you're watching this, please share the problem that your agency solves so that we can go ahead and work through it together, or I can help you improve it, or at least, you know, we can see what's working and what isn't, and so on. All right, so why does this even matter? You might be saying, all I want to know is how to send cold emails or run ads or do messages or do the SEO or whatever. Why do I need to be worried about what problem I solve? Well, it's a good thing that the next slide happens to tell you that. So there's a few different things. It helps you build a business you're excited to work on, and I'm going to cover each of these individually. It's a great selling tool. It helps you stand out and be unique from the other tens of thousands of agencies out there, and it's ethical. So, it helps you build a business you're excited to work on. I guarantee you, if you just get into starting an agency just to make money or just to generate leads and sales for your clients, you're going to get bored with it really, really quick. If you don't have some sort of personal connection or reason or something that you're doing this to solve a specific issue for a specific person, you're going to get bored with this so quick, and you're going to only do the bare minimum. You're going to hate it. It's basically like having a job, which defeats the entire purpose of this, in my opinion. So knowing the problem that you solve will help you get up every day and want to solve it, rather than it being a job that you get up every day because you've got a mortgage and rent and food and kids and all that other stuff. So, and it's a great selling tool. So once you start selling prospects and trying to turn them into clients, if you know what problem you solve, you can specifically target people that have that problem, and you know what the problem is, so you in theory know the solution, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but you know the solution, so you can explain to them how that you know that they have this problem and that you have this solution, and here's what it is. If you don't have that, you're just going to go say something like, yeah, what I do is SEO, and I make it show up higher in Google search results, and Google is the biggest website in the world, and it'll bring in these traffic and leads and sales, and your hair will grow back, you'll get a foot taller, and women will start to, you know what I mean? So if you have this defined, really dialed in, you can actually solve that problem, and it'll be a great selling tool for you. It helps you stand out, be unique from thousands of other agencies. You've already heard me say it a couple times, and I'm going to say it a bunch more throughout this presentation, is that there are millions and millions and millions, I don't know what the real number is, but a lot of marketing agencies out there. They're all the same. And that's because at one point it was really easy to just throw up a website that was Superstar SEO, for example, and call yourself an agency and start getting clients. And the problem is everybody realized that, and courses like OMG and other things taught that for a long time. So now it's flooded with agencies that are all exactly the same. And the pendulum has swung back in favor of the prospect, because now there's so many people that can do this for them that there's no reason for them to choose you unless you have identified a specific person with a specific problem that you can solve. So this is going to help you stand out from that. It'll help you respond to, why should I use you instead of XYZ agency? And most people that get that question are going to say, because I get results. Everybody gets results unless they don't. Getting results should be the bare minimum. It should not be the feature. It should be guaranteed that you're going to get results. And that is not enough of a reason for somebody to choose you, because there's a lot of places that can get you results. You need to be able to tell people that you understand specifically the problem that they have and how you can solve it for them. So that's that. And then it's ethical. Like, getting into business just to make money is, I don't want to say it's fine, but that is part of the goal, and it's always going to be. But if you're not doing it, if you don't have a specific problem, that means you're not going to understand how to solve a problem, and you're just selling services that you don't really know if they are going to benefit the client or not. So if you identify a specific problem that you know you can solve, it's ethical to sell that in exchange, or give that in exchange for money. If you don't even know what the problem is, then you aren't really a business. You are just charging people for a task. I shouldn't say you aren't a business. You're a freelancer charging a person for a task. If you understand the problem, then you can solve it for them, and you are actually being ethical because you are exchanging money for something of value rather than exchanging money for nothing. Somebody says, wow. So any questions on any of that, any of those the things on that side, on that slide, or anything that we've talked about so far? Let me know that while I grab a sip of Perrier. All right, no questions it seems, so let's keep it moving. Elements of the problem. So now that we know that we need to have a problem to solve, we need to figure out what things to look for to find a problem that we can solve. That's what I mean by elements of the problem. So here's a couple, and I ended up creating a set. I had like 4 or 5 on this, and I ended up breaking it off into its own thing. So that's why there's only 2. So your work experience is a great place to start by helping solve a problem. So suppose that you used to work as an HVAC repair person or HVAC installation person. You probably understand that business better than somebody who throws a dart at a dartboard and chooses that as their niche. If you worked for a moving company, or if you used to be a dentist or a roofer or something. I have a client, and I wonder if he's even watching today. I won't name his name, but I have a client who is a chiropractor, and he has built his whole marketing business around helping chiropractors. And I don't think he actually does that anymore, but at one point that was what he was doing, because he understood the issues that they have in their marketing and so on better than someone who just chooses that because it's a niche where they can make some money. I think that was how Ben Adkins started too. Ben Adkins is, I don't know what he does these days, to be perfectly honest, but he used to be an internet marketer that sold a lot of courses. And he started by figuring out how to do marketing for his own practice and then selling that to other practices. And then he grew into typical internet marketer stuff. But your own experience, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work, it could be your education, but you probably have an industry that you are familiar with, that you can gain knowledge of, know what the issues they face are, and then you can talk to them in a way that they understand, and you know what is needed, or at least you have an advantage in knowing what is needed to fix that particular person's problem or that particular type of business's problem. Next week we'll talk about niches, and this is kind of that. So you have experience in a particular niche or industry or vertical or whatever you want to call it, and you then know how to figure out what their problem is and how to solve it better. So that's that. And the other one is your own story slash values. This one I got from from the other founder at Legit, Jem, who also runs a web agency that's going through something of a rebrand right now. And for him, it's about helping individuals become better overall people as well as with their business. So it's more than just I can make you a website and do your marketing. It's more that I can help you live a particular lifestyle and use this vehicle to get you there. And then he has a backstory on that. He shared it publicly, so I'm going to touch on it a little bit. I don't want to give away his whole story, but basically, he was working really hard, and he came home one day, and it was his son's birthday. I believe it was his son and not his daughter. Hopefully I got that right. And they had already eaten some of the cake because he was so late getting home. And that was kind of a changing moment for him. And he realized that he didn't want other people to give away so much of their life to their work that they were missing out on the key moments of their life. And that's what he's built his around. And he wants to solve that problem for people through his business. So that's a big story, a big part of his values and what he wants to do. And that's why he built his agency around it and why he's rebranding it. So think about things in your life that motivate you or your own values, and figure out if there are other people out there, and we're going to talk about that in a second too, out there that not only have that problem, but that there are enough of them that are willing to pay to solve that problem, that you can build your offer, your product, your service, and your agency around it. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that slide is a bit abstract, but it's really important that you break down the pieces of the problem and figure out why that's the one that you want to choose, and that'll help you choose one, because I know this is a bit hard. I know the instinct is I'm going to help people get more clients through SEO or Facebook ads or sales copy or whatever, but if you understand the elements of it, maybe it's, like I say, it's your work background or it's your own personal story and history and values, it'll help. So does anybody have any thoughts or any questions on that? Does that resonate with anyone? Does anybody not understand it? Somebody please say something. I need a little bit of engagement so I know that people are paying attention and that we're on the right track. So let me know what you think so far, or if you have any questions on that. And then in a second, we'll move on to the next one. And let me make sure I didn't miss any questions anywhere else, because I always feel bad. Jean says, great. Wayne over on LinkedIn says, what are your thoughts on full service agencies that work with across many verticals? So there's good and bad to that. And I don't advocate one or the other, and we're going to talk about that in the future. But The full service agency has the advantage in that it has more potential clients, right? It's a big blue ocean of everybody that you can bring in, and you won't miss as many opportunities in theory that way. The downside is you can't really address a problem or make a specific package or offer, and your sales process is going to be more complicated, and the services you offer are going to be more complicated. So the upside is to a full service agency is that you have a much bigger pool of clients that you can draw on, whereas if you have a niche agency, you are more focused and you can focus your efforts, but there's less to do. So that's kind of my take on that. Randy says, good stuff. Thank you, Randy. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions anywhere on Facebook. Doesn't look like it. Well, actually, maybe. No. All right, I think we're good. So let's continue on. Wayne says, agreed. Thank you, Wayne. So moving on. Now, is the problem worth solving? That may sound a little hard. This may sound a little harsh, but not every problem is worth solving. At least not worth solving to the point that you can build a business around it, because we'll talk about that in the next slide. So a few questions to ask when figuring out if the problem you've identified and that you're considering building your agency and your business around is worth doing is, are there enough businesses with the problem? So, for example, I really love comic book stores, and I know, and like collectible type stores, and I know that the issues they have in generating business, but unless you're in a huge city, there's usually only one in the entire city. So, and they don't generate a ton of revenue. So it's not a big enough niche, and it's not the problems they have, there aren't enough people with that problem to build an agency around it, a business around it. Are the businesses willing and able to pay to solve the problem? So when I started, one of the niche that I focused on was wedding photographers, and I found that they understood that they had the problem, but more often than not, they weren't willing to pay to solve it, at least not pay enough to make it worth my while in order to solve it. So you need to understand that some businesses, like going back to the comic book store example, don't have enough money to pay you to solve the problem in a way that's also beneficial to you. And then there are other niches where, and there's going to be exceptions to both of these things, of course, but there are other niches where they understand the problem and the problem is worth paying to solve, but the average person in that niche doesn't agree and won't be willing to pay you what you need to make in order to make a profit off of them. So those are a couple of things that you can think about. Are businesses in the niche or industry or whatever that your problem exists, are they willing and able to pay you? If the answer to either of those is no, you probably don't, and you'd have to do some market research to do anything on this slide, but you probably don't have a problem that is worth building your agency around. And can the problem be solved by what you do? Now this is a big one because a lot of people like Billy Jean taught like agency owners to just take whoever will pay them and then outsource the work. And I love that because I own a platform that, has the most talented people to outsource to in the entire world. But if you don't know how to solve the problem, it doesn't matter if it's a good problem that needs to be solved or not. And offering a solution to a problem you don't have a solution to is incredibly unethical. Offering to do something that you yourself don't know how to do, or aren't partnered with someone that knows how to do is unethical. And it's also, not only is it unethical, you may get away with it, but you're also going to not do as good of a job. If you don't know how to fix the issue that a restaurant or a roofer or a marketing agency or whatever does, you don't have any business offering to solve that problem for them. So I'm going to take this to a non-business level. I never offer advice on stuff that I don't know the answer to, haven't tested, or don't have experience and or expertise in. A lot of people do. Like if I was to post that, man, I got food poisoning last night, there'd be a bunch of people that would comment with exactly what they think I should do. They have no clue if that works or not. They're just regurgitating or making shit up. And they don't even do it like with bad intention, but they're doing it because they just are. So if you're going to charge people money for something, you need to know that you can do the thing that you're charging them money for. Doesn't mean that you personally have to do it, but you need to know that your business has the resources, the skill, and the knowledge to do it for them. So hopefully that makes sense. Same experience, often the problem is not recognized as the ultimate problem to the company. Although due to the sticky nature of agency services, you can often backdoor away into upsell the bigger problem. Yeah, that's a good point. Like you can give, I think the expression is something like give them what they want and sell them what they need. You're right in that you can start with a smaller thing that they do understand and are willing to pay for, and then build that rapport with them over time to then upsell them into, if they really need SEO, then you can sell them to it. But you can start by setting up their social profiles or, whatever. I can't even think of another good superstar offer at the moment, but doing an audit or something like that for them up front for something they do understand and are willing to, and then you can build that rapport, and then later, this is a bit more advanced than what we're talking about today, but yeah, you're right. Then you can later upsell them into the thing that they actually need once they trust you and trust your opinion and trust your knowledge and trust your skill and perceive you as that authority, that expert, that person that they can rely on to get them results because you've already gotten them smaller results. So that's a great point, Wayne. Thank you. So any other comments or questions on that? Or is anybody out there thinking, I don't really know what my problem, if there's enough business for the problem I'm chosen to support it or not? Or does anybody out there think that they've got this dialed in? Any questions or anything else like that before I move on to the next slide? We're already 35 minutes into this, so we need to get a move on. Wayne says, trust is everything. Absolutely. The easiest way to build trust is to be trustworthy. I know that sounds like catchy and kind of obvious, but surprising to me how many people don't understand something so basic. But I get asked that question sometimes, is how can I get my clients' trust? I was like, be trustworthy. Be honest with them and be transparent with them and do good work for them. And if they don't trust you after that, they're never going to. So. All right, let me get a sip of water. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to what I believe is the last major slide. Major slide. Hopefully somebody gets that reference. All right, moving right along. Can you actually solve the problem? I think I covered that on that slide, didn't I? Yeah, so can you actually solve the problem? I touched on this a little bit on the last slide, but do you actually have the skills and the team to solve the problem? Now, if you start as like a one-man gang type of agency or as a solopreneur or something like that, a lot of the time the skill is going to have to be something that you personally know how to do because you aren't going to have a team yet and you're not going to have the margins yet to outsource. So you need to know that before you sell somebody on something, can you actually deliver? So you've identified the problem that this niche, this business, this industry, this person has. You've convinced them that you can solve it. You need to know that you actually can solve it and have the skills to do it. Otherwise, you're not only being unethical, but you're not going to succeed in the long or even medium term. So ask yourself, after you've identified the problem by going through the things that we've talked about up to this point, ask yourself then if you actually have the skill, the team, the resources, the knowledge, access to the ability to solve that problem. If you don't, you shouldn't be offering to solve it in the first place. So think about that as you're thinking about this and crafting your offer and your problem and so on. So that's that. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, plus I kind of covered it on the last slide. And is it a problem you actually want to solve? I know that it's not apropos or whatever, I don't think that's really the right word, but we're supposed to pretend like we're going into business to be altruistic, which, by the way, for those of you that watched last week, was the word that I couldn't think of. But they think that we're going into business to be altruistic. Ultimately, we're going into business for ourselves. We want to make money and live our life the way we want to. And if we're going to work with the types of businesses and niches and industries that have a problem that we don't give a crap about, or that we don't really just see ourselves spending time on, it's not going to be sustainable. You have to do things that you enjoy and that you love and that you are passionate about and that you actually want to do if you're going to have a long-term business, because nobody ever built anything special by just doing a cash grab. You might make enough money to make a nice living, but ultimately you're not going to be happy if you're solving a problem you don't care about. So I know coaches that will take on people with any kind of offer, and they end up not doing a great job because they don't care. So if you don't actually want to solve the problem you've identified, it isn't going to be sustainable. It's, again, I hate to keep sounding high and mighty, but it's borderline unethical. And if you don't actually want to solve the problem, you're not building a sustainable agency to where you'll be able to grow and build something special and then use it to pay me to do things for you, which is ultimately my goal. So that's another one to consider is it something you actually want to solve? I want that to be the bigger portion of that. I want that to be something you think about throughout your entire business is, do I really want to do this? Because if you don't, what's the point, right? I mean, we all have to make a living. We all have to pay the rent, the mortgage, the bills, the kids, the car payment, the Funko Pops, whatever it is that you spend your money on. You're gonna have. I understand that you have to have money, but long term, if you don't actually give a shit, you're not gonna magically start giving a shit. So I hope that makes sense. Wayne, thanks for your contributions today. I appreciate that. You're much easier to do what you love. You pour yourself into the project. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be something you have like a burning passion for, but at least something you enjoy enough that you don't have to do it just because you have to do it, you know? So, and I believe I have one more slide, and that is, what problem do you solve? And by you, I mean you, the 20 or so, because the attendance has dropped off dramatically since the giveaway, as is the norm. But what problem do you solve? Like, drop your problem in the comments or in the chat, and if you are unsure, you can say that too. But let's try to work through some of this together. If you have something you think is a great example for everyone else watching, share that too. But let's kind of work on this together a little bit. We got about 15 more minutes, so. Jean says, I found that trying to solve a problem I wasn't particularly interested in doing usually ends up more trouble than the financial gain. Amen. I turn down a lot of offers these days because I just am fortunate. I'm not taking away from the fact, like, I'm not unaware of the fact that some people have to do things they don't want to do in the beginning in order to pay the bills, but I'm fortunate enough to be past that point. So now I can be selective on what I do take on. And yeah, I turn down so many things that would probably make me money, but I just don't care. Like, I either don't care, or I don't like the person or the niche or the industry, or I just don't want to do what's going to be needed or whatever it is. But yeah, you're right. If it's a problem you don't care about, you're not gonna stick to it. Like, long term, that's just how we work. We are hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And if solving the problem gives you pain, you are not going to do it long term. So let me make sure I didn't miss any questions anywhere else. I don't think I did. Man, that dude's weird. All right, let me refresh. All right, let me scroll up some to the beginning and find the problems that a few of you listed. Somebody said, I don't know if this is him saying that this is what he does or if he just thinks it's a good idea because I got a black eye. But it's a digital marketing agency just for MMA guys. For MMA gyms, I think there might be a problem or a possibility there. That's probably not what I was looking for though. Problem. Let me stop when you have 99. I've just entered live. What happens now? What happens? John said, I assume that means we create and leverage video marketing for companies who would be too busy or lacking the skills to do it themselves. I think that's a good start. Why do they need video marketing would be my question. Like, if I'm a contractor, why do I need a video? You know what I mean? Like, what, if I'm a dentist, a plumber, a moving company, why do I need video? And I know the answer. I'm not asking that for myself, but I think that you would probably need to define why video is important so they understand why they need it. So you can, and I don't know, these numbers could be complete bullshit, but 60% of people today learn make their decision on who they want to work with after watching some video, or conversion rate goes up higher. Don't say conversion rate, that's a nerdy term, but people call you more often when they have a video of you, you know what I mean? So I would dig in a little deeper than that and explain to them why they need video marketing and why not having video marketing is a problem that's holding them back. Jean says affordable marketing. That's a benefit, but I would, again, there dig in deeper and figure out why they need marketing and if it needs to be affordable for them. You know, some companies don't care if it's affordable. So figure out if the problem is that they want to be seen more and have more people know about them, and if so, then the channel of marketing that works for them, and that they need marketing, and that you understand that you can do it, that they need to do it on a budget, and then you can build an offer into that solves that. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I would need to dig a little deeper, but that's how I would ask you to dig deeper into that being the problem that you solve. Let's see, I think that was actually... Fazley said, we've solved the problem. Company paid for boosting leads, but they not succeed. So I think what you're saying there is that you find companies that need leads that have tried to do it before, but haven't succeeded. So you're actually a little closer than some of the others, if I'm interpreting this correctly, and that you've identified the problem is that people are paying other businesses for leads and they aren't getting them. So I figured out what kind of leads they need, why they thought it failed, and what you can do differently that those other companies didn't that will get them the leads that they can then turn into clients or customers or consumers, whatever it is. So it seems like the problem that you have identified is that people do want leads and that they've tried to get leads through either themselves or through other companies and they failed. And the problem that you solve is that you figure out why they've been failing and you get them that. So hopefully that's right. If so, then that's how I would frame that one. So then a lot of you are like right there on the problem. You just have to be more specific and dig in a little deeper and explain it in ways that the person with that problem can say, yes, that's what's wrong, and that's exactly what I need to fix it. It's great when you get into a position that you don't need every job and you can pick and choose the work you do. It gives you much more quality to your life. Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, I wanted to get out of my day job, and I took on anybody that said yes, and it was miserable. That's why I ended up doing freelancing and why I ended up doing affiliate. And still, even though I was not making enough money to live on my own, I was still bouncing around until I figured out what I wanted to do, and then I started making enough money at that, and I got to where I could pick and choose. And now I don't even really focus on my own agency much anymore. So yeah, I agree. It's a blessing, and it's not something I ever take for granted. If I do, I certainly try not to. I find that if I try to solve too many things, but deep down I believe I bridge the gap between sales and marketing, design, and development. Yeah, I'm the same way, and to some extent. Like I really do like helping people, and when I see somebody that has a problem, I try to figure out a way to solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. I had to do that once. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think that I do that too. And it's good that you understand that you bridge the gap. Now, I would ask you to explain what you mean by bridge the gap between sales and marketing. Like, what is the gap? And again, I know that. I know what it is. But I think that's a way that you could explain it that would help other people too. Is that the gap is that, marketing is attention, and then sales is turning that attention into dollars. That's probably how I would do it. Design is making something pretty. Development is making that pretty thing work. So you are the guy in between the two of those, and I totally get that. That sounds like a great, with the right wording, that would be a great pitch to throw, to strike somebody out or to turn them into a client. I'm not good with the analogies. So yeah, I agree, but I think that's a great way to put it. Wayne says, what about extension of your marketing team to help grow your brand and digital presence? Yeah, I think that's good. That way you acknowledge that they have a team and that they can do the job, but maybe they need more manpower. Maybe they need somebody with a strategy that they don't have. Maybe they need someone to oversee it. Again, I'd have to know the specifics of the offer to dig deeper, but I agree. I think that's a good start, because you are acknowledging that they have something, which people tend to like, because if you start with telling them everything they're doing wrong, people get pissed, even if you're right. So I think that, yeah, by acknowledging that they have a team who is doing a good job, but maybe just needs a little help from somebody that has a club in their bag that they don't have, or someone that can oversee it, so the CEO or the salesperson or the marketing director can focus on, you know, whatever else they have to focus on. I think you're onto something there. And I think what we'll do next stream is turn some problems into offers, into specific offers or pitches or whatever. That's not just I help X get more Y in Z time frame that you see on everybody's LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff. Lane says me too. Excellent. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Gonna open it up to that or any more questions that people have. Telling someone their baby's ugly never ends well. Yeah, and I see that in the emails I get every day, right? Like, you could be getting so much more traffic from Google if your site didn't suck or if you had proper optimization on your videos. I remember one, I usually try not to pick on people, but I remember one on the Legit YouTube channel a while back. He goes, this video is good, but it's not SEO optimized, and that's why you're not getting any viewers and or subscribers. And I looked, and the channel had way more subscribers than him, and that one video had more views than every video on his channel altogether. So I basically made fun of him. And my point to that story is, one, people are dumb, but two, that even if I thought he had the skill, which clearly he didn't, but even if I thought he did, starting off with, this is why you suck, would not have made me want to work with him. And I made that mistake early on too, in telling people what they were doing wrong, rather than getting to know them and letting them tell me what's wrong so I can solve it for them. Grab some more water. Whew. Make sure I didn't miss any questions anywhere else. I don't know why, but it really bothers me when I miss questions. So, all right, let's open it up to any other questions that people have. And I don't know if I put a slide here that says questions. I did not. So you can ask any question you want on any topic except for freelancers and how to get more orders on Legit, because I'm sick to death of answering that. So any questions or any more problems or any questions on what we covered today, and also if any feedback, did you enjoy this? I know that we're still not getting into the specifics on how to do things, and I know that's what a lot of people want to focus on, but establishing this is going to make all of that work so much better. That's good. I don't have anything better to say to that. So, or we can just go ahead and call it a weekend too. So let me know if you have anything else you'd like to cover, if you have any more problems you'd like to share, if you have any questions on this or any other topic except for how to get orders on Legit. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. I'm going to keep rambling for a minute or two, and if I don't see anything in that minute or two, I will go into my Edward R. Murrow routine and call it a day. It's not a deep cut, but I bet most of the people here, including myself, are too young to actually get that reference unless they saw the movie about him from a few years ago. Kashif says, how to sell SEO to companies with in-house SEOs. The company doesn't have ranking. I don't think I would try. Well, if you mean that the company itself doesn't have ranking and they have an in-house SEO, they probably don't give a shit about their own SEO. If you mean that their clients don't have ranking, I'd go after their clients. I'm not going to lie, because to me they're not being ethical because they're not getting their client results. So if you're asking me how to sell SEO to companies that have an in-house, maybe I'm looking at that the wrong way. Yeah, you know what I would do is just tell them that they're okay. Let me start over, right? Because I didn't think about your question correctly. You suppose you identified an accounting firm that has an in-house SEO and they don't have any ranking. I hate this, kind of contradicts what I just said, but I would point out the opportunities that they are missing and say that you're willing to work with their in-house SEO team to help them solve them. You're really not, but what you're doing there is not totally burying the person there, but asking if they're happy with the results, and if not, then showing that you can solve those results. So that's how I would approach that. It's not something that's come up too many times, but also make sure you don't talk to the SEO person because they're going to get protective of their job. But that's what I would do, is ask them if they are happy with the results their internal person is getting. And whether they say yes or whether they say no, point out what results they could be getting on top of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I think Wayne took that to mean the same way I did initially. If you're talking about like a marketing agency who has in-house SEO team that does SEO for clients, then yeah, screw that agency and go after the clients. But if it's an individual business that needs SEO and they have an in-house SEO who's not getting the job done, again, I would approach them with are you happy with the results that you're getting? And whether they say yes or whether they say no, show them what else you could be getting, they could be getting by working with you. So that's a great question, so thank you. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. This was a great session. It went really, really quick, which is how I say that a session is good or not. Jean says, thanks. Have yourself a great weekend. Thank you, I will. My school is closed, so I will probably just go for a nice walk tomorrow afternoon, and I might go see Oppenheimer in the evening. And that's pretty much all I've got planned. All right, just a couple minutes left, so any last minute questions or any thoughts on this? I think, and don't hold me to this, but I think what I'm going to do next week is take what we've done over the last week and this week and then talk about packaging that into an offer. And by the offer, I don't mean the nuts and bolts of the steps that you're going to take and how much it's going to cost, but how you're going to present the offer to someone in a way that it in a way that that they can understand and then they can buy. Can you share a few examples in SEO turning a problem into an offer? I don't think we have enough time for that today. I think that's what we're going to talk about next week, though, is once you've identified the problem, how you can phrase that in a package that is an offer that you can present to someone for sale. Hey, Beata, I haven't seen you in a while. It says, how would you get into multinational companies with an agency? I'm not going to lie, I don't have a lot of experience in getting into that. So I assume that you mean something like a Toyota or I'm thinking of the most random businesses right now, a Nestle or something like that. I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I haven't done SEO at that level, so I don't know. Shannon says, thanks for talking about this. It makes me realize opportunities I may have missed for lack of focus. Great. I'm glad it helped. Lan says, Chris, has the boxing site come along? I haven't checked it in a few days. My assistant has been going through and doing the internal linking, and last I checked, she had only a couple hundred more pages to go. So once that is done, we'll submit the sitemap again and see how it's going. But I haven't checked it much this week because I've been doing other things. Beata says, fair enough, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you, but like I said earlier, if I don't know, I'm not going to just make some shit up and send you down the wrong path. I think that's unethical, and way too many people in our society, let alone our industry, do that. And I don't have experience working with corporations at that level. The biggest site that I've done SEO for is Legit itself, which is a huge challenge. And those of you that saw me speak back in April know that. But I just don't have a good answer for you. I'm sorry. And I don't even really know who to refer you to be honest. So, all right, I think that's enough. Let me stop sharing the screen. I hope everyone enjoyed this presentation. I hope you took something from it. I hope you know, or at least are now on the track to define the problem that your agency and your business that solves so that you can figure that out. And then next week, we're going to take what we took last week and what we did this week and turn that into something that you could actually offer to people. So that you have identified why you want to be an agency, you've identified the problem that your agency is going to solve. Now we're going to identify how we're going to solve it, meaning the offer that we present to prospects to turn them into clients. So if you want to follow along with all the agency goodies, you're going to go to legitagency.group. I'm going to drop that in the chat. And then, of course, you can find me on all the socials. Just search for Chris M. Walker. And hopefully by the time you see me next week, my face will be back to normal too. So let me find the other places where this is. And then we're going to call it a day. So there's that. There's that. That's interesting that the Legit group didn't get much engagement. It usually does. Well, you're already in there. So. All right, so we've shared that around everywhere. And again, the URL, if you want to join the mastermind, completely free. Like I said, the only goal is for you to get a better agency going so that I can sell you things. But if you don't want to use me, that's fine too. So hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back next week. I'll see you in the meantime. Peace.